Aaron, I'm a book coach thank you for sitting through my commercial, everybody. I'm a book coach for fiction writers. I'm interested in niche review. Okay, great. So, Aaron, where are you zooming in from?
Yeah, I'm in Corvallis, Oregon.
Okay, I've never been there.
It's beautiful. You should visit.
Oh, yeah. Oh man, Oregon's a little piece of heaven overall. Okay, so you said I help people who love books and nature explore the connection of those passions through writing fiction. So Island A, they want to write a novel, but they don't know how, or they've tried and not been successful. Island B, they hold a finished draft of their novel in their hands and feel like they've given nature a voice in the process. Beautiful. I like that. Right. So it's people who they want to write a fiction book that in some way is uplifting nature.
Yeah.
Right. Beautiful. And they're right. They just don't know how to start. That's a great niche. I think that,
Awesome.
yeah, I don't have a ton of feedback other than, what comes to me is if I were such an author and I was wanting to write a nature book, I'd love to have other people who are in the same boat who I could talk with, who are struggling with the same thing, who are passionate about the same thing if there was some sort of membership or group or Facebook group for other nature loving authors, I think that would just feel really good to be able to talk about the wrinkles of how do you articulate these things? How do you give voice to it and, get support and be with other authors who share similar values? I think that would be great. And let me actually share this because when we're thinking about premium offers, we're thinking about the higher end stuff, where people spend more money. Um, there's a number of things that we can be including that we often don't think to include. And I've got a list of, I think, 30. Sorry. Just trying to get to my own website. Slash premium. So I'll just do a little screen share so everyone can see this. So yeah, 33 elements that service providers can include in their premium programs. And this also ties to another piece. Let me share that link in the chat. But so you'll see, like one-on-one coaching is obviously something. Workshops and retreats are something that can be included. You can have the bat phone where people can reach out to you at any point, unlimited email coaching, and on and on. So it just reminded me when I was talking about the kind of community part of it, how can what else can be added in that would be compelling for them? But generally, I got no big feedback. I think it's fantastic. Is there somewhere you feel stuck in particular with all of this?
I'm still very new in my business, so I think now that I have found my niche and am able to articulate it, now what do I do next?
Okay. It depends. Generally, for me, point of view is one of the next pieces of delving into just, okay, how do I see this? What's unique about my approach to this? And how do you feel? Do you feel like you've got a pretty clear sense of that for yourself?
No, I've been reading your ebook, but I'm still not quite halfway through.
Okay. So that's it depends how the cash flow is. Yeah. If you're needing money right away, then it's a different thing than okay, if money's okay, you've got support or savings and you're not in a panic about the thing, then next is point of view and then business model, then hubs. If it's a bit more urgent, you go right to hubs. And so then the thing that comes to me in this situation is I'd be reaching out to all the other book coaches and editors and just introducing yourself as one level of hubs where you say, hey, I'm a book coach like you, and I specialize in this. If you ever have clients who are looking for help in this area in particular, I'm here. I'm happy to help. Because some of them may be in a mood to refer. And you could also do an affiliate deal, like, hey, if you send them my way, I'll give you a cut. So that's a possibility. but I would be thinking about hubs. So yeah, people who are in who are and there okay, so there's basically two types of hubs for you here, it seems to me. One, the nature connection scene, the nature lovers. Like where do they hang out? And you go there and you say, hey, have any of you thought about writing a book? That's one. The other is the authors, and you say, so you want to write a book. If you're interested in writing a book about the theme of nature, here's, a fiction book on nature. Here's what I've got, and I can help you. Now, if you can find a, a literary event that's like nature and literature together, go to that event and just stay up, till the wee hours of the morning at all the parties and give out business cards to everyone you can. That's great. If you can find something that's already got the connection of those two things. I'm curious, are there any unique difficulties that these types of authors face that others don't?
I've been thinking about that because yeah, there are very common difficulties that people who want to write a book face. The confidence and who am I to tell a story and all that.
Yeah.
But for people who are nature lovers, I've been thinking about this idea that as a society, if you love nature, if you love something about nature, kind of the push you get is to go into a science field, but not everyone
Uh-huh.
has skills. Not everyone feels called to get a degree and be a biologist or what have you. And this is another way to contribute that is different, is brings different skills to the forefront. So that's what I've kind of been toying with.
That's beautiful. I also wonder if some of the more sciencey environmental people might be drawn to this.
They have a creative side. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. And so part of this is we start to experiment with these hubs. We experiment with these categories of communities. Like, yeah, maybe the science people are so thrilled. Oh my God, I finally get to write a story. Or maybe it's the kind of people who are just learning how to write books and they're in writing clubs and, taking those kinds of classes. There's certainly podcasts on writing and writing books, and getting interviewed on those would be fantastic. Or just having them bring you in to do a signature workshop, also great. What else comes to me? I thought, yeah. So one is, I think that would be a good article to write, or in your sales letter, like here are the 7 challenges that you would face as a nature fiction author that other authors don't face, and like my work with you will help you deal with those. I'd like something that was very specific in Erin's write-up that I want to flag was they want to have a finished draft of their novel in their hands. She did not say they have the finished published book in their hand. So that's an important distinction as the ILMB. Here's what I'm promising. I'm not promising you're going to get it published and you're going to have that bestseller in your hands. You're going to have the draft of it. And then there's another journey. And it's good for us to just think about what's the role I want to play in their life. It's a good niching question. Like, what role do I want to play in their life? What role do I not want to play? So that's also just some good reflection, because there's other book coaches out there who do other things. And you may just look and say, you know what? I just don't want to do that part of it. Like, I don't want to do the copy editing. I don't want to do the getting them a publisher or an agent. I don't want to do the marketing or sales of it. I just want to help them do this. And so one of the exercises you do is you just take a blank piece of paper, draw a line down the center. The top left is like the roles I want to play, top right, roles I don't want to play. And you just go back and forth and get really clear. What's the niche you want to fill in their lives? What's the thing you want to do? And then, okay, the things I don't want to do, could I refer out? Who could I send them to? And you start to build up that Rolodex, that database of people. That was a question I was going to ask. What are the books what are the most popular nature fiction books that people would know about?
They would know about Where the Crawdad Sings. They would know about The Great Alone, Prodigal Summer by Barbara Kingsolver. I would say Wild Robot, which is a middle grade. So
yeah.
kinds. There's so many.
Okay. So, because one of the best questions you can ask for everyone around this island be around the result that they're craving is to ask yourself, who do my people envy and why? Who do they envy and why? That tells you almost everything you need to know about Island B. Um, so my guess is they envy those authors. Like, oh my God, they wrote the most beautiful book about nature, and that's maybe the book that had me want to write something like that. P.S. If you wanted to start a podcast, you could start interviewing those authors. And you could then you interview them and you could do an online summit. That's another marketing approach, and where you just interview the most famous nature authors out there and just ask them about their process. And then you can take that summit, turn it into a product which you sell and make money. And the person I recommend around that is Milana Lashinsky. If you're thinking about doing a summit, so let me just pull this up. That interview. Talking with her changed my views on summits. I was just so tired of being approached for summits because they're so generic, most of them. And she was the one who actually, I think, the whole idea of summits came from this woman. Here we go. And we spoke for just over an hour, and she really changed my views on it. So yeah, if you just search on YouTube, Tad Harger, Milana Lashinsky, Leshinsky, but I'll put it in the chat here for those on call live. But you can do that, and then you have a product that you can sell, where it's interviews with all these big name authors. And they get to learn from their experience. You could probably charge good money for that. But you sell it for $100, all these interviews, and every year you could do it again with the new upcoming authors and the new books. You could very quickly just be known as the go-to resource. And here's the other reason that actually had me think about that at all, is you absolutely know that when these authors do their book signings, when they speak, there's a certain percentage of the audience that is asking them, like, how do I write a book like you? How do I become an author like this? And imagine that if all of those authors knew about you and they said, oh, if you want to write a nature-based fiction book, that the only person I can think of is Erin. She's amazing. She's got this thing. What's your website, by the way?
It's eradbookcoach.com. I'll put it in the chat. So eradbookcoach.com.
We've got
it's hard to spell.
Yeah, we've got to change that. So here, let's do this in the chat. In the chat, I'm going to invite everyone. What is the URL that you would suggest for her? What's the website name that you would suggest for her? While you're putting it in, I'm going to tell you a little story about a puttering session I had a couple months ago now. It was some folks who do lomi lomi massage, which is a Hawaiian form of massage, very slow, long motions. And apparently in Hawaii, for in special occasions, for the kind of Hawaiian royalty, or maybe for a wedding, for a very special moment, you get a massage from like 4 people at once. Which, if you've never had it, is you can't even believe what a kind of moonshot that is for your mind. So they do these massages, right? And they also figured out that if you slow it way down, they found a particular speed with a particular number of people where it's almost an LSD trip. It's like a holotropic breathwork thing. You're just lying there. Like, people really have powerful experiences. And they've worked with some more famous people. And I said, what's your website? And they said, what did they say? Oh yeah, it was stayintouch.earth. And I said, no, it's not. And they said, no, but you see, stay in touch because the massage, and earth because I said, I understand what you're going for. And that will absolutely not be your website. And what we came to so obviously was ceremonialmassage.com. Yeah, I don't know if they've got that up, but here's the reason. People have to remember this. This is the most important thing. People have to remember the URL. And that memory has to survive the third margarita. This is where word of mouth happens. They're at a party talking with a friend that's like, yeah, I've been thinking about writing a book about my experiences in nature. And then their friend's like, oh my God, you got to talk to my friend. Oh, Aaron, you know, and if it can't, if the etch a sketch of alcohol wipes that out, it wasn't memorable. It's got to be like marketing for hippies.com has been a blessing for me. That's really easy to spell and remember. So if it's hard to spell, if it's hard to remember, it's no good. So let's see, just stalling. Let's see what we got. First up, we got naturebookcoach.com, naturebooknerd.com, nature book coach, yeah, nature book writing, nature writers, nature authors. We've got Yolanda's giving you a little recommendation, naturebook.writers.com. So you see how everyone went for a very similar kind of thing. So that's worth paying attention to. So I would check out those URLs soon, because this will go on YouTube soon and somebody else might scoop it. So genuinely today, I would start researching. It's $10. I would book a few. Make sure it's .com, because that's what people tend to go for and remember. Okay, somebody put writing underscore with underscore nature. No underscores, no dashes. Simple, easy to remember. Writing from nature, right? Writing for nature. But I think, you know, if it's about nature and authors, I want somehow those both to be, or nature and writing. I just want it to be, as I'm remembering what it is and saying what it is in my mind, that triggers the memory of the URL. Anyways, these are all my thoughts for you, Erin. I hope that's helpful.
Thanks so much.